strikes, how do they really affect the economy? Oil in East Africa. The big industrial news of today is the discovery of oil and mineral deposits in Kasemba, one of Africa's most controversial states. But this find isn't going to be exploited by the Chinese or the East Germans, both of whom are working on a number of projects there already. Instead, the Kasemban government has today signed a 50-year lease with one of the archpriests of capitalism against whom they have been fulminating for some time. In fact, with a consortium headed by MOGUL Oil. Earlier today, I spoke to Brian Stead, the managing director of MOGUL. For a start, Mr. Stead, who's in the consortium?
Well, there are two companies, MOGUL Oil, of course, and Baltic Oil, the West German company.
And how rich are these deposits?
Well, it's very difficult to say at the moment, but, well, they certainly look very promising.
Could they be another Alaska?
Well, everybody hopes so, of course, but, well, it'll probably be a couple of years before we can be sure of anything.
Dr. Chimubu, you led the team negotiating the lease with MOGUL. Wouldn't you say that this rather unholy alliance with one of the oil capitalists represents quite a shift in your country's policy?
No, not at all. We are, so to say, a non-aligned country. This means we are free to accept assistance from whichever quarter we best.
Communist China or MOGUL?
Why not? We're not a rich country. We cannot afford ideological chastity.
But surely, as socialists, you must...
First, we are Kasembans. Secondly...
Mr. Stead, I understand that most of the area MOGUL has leased lies in the area of Ogowene.
Yes, that's correct, yes.
Isn't Ogowene where Heinrich Hoffmann has his famous leprosy hospital?
Yes, that's right. Mm-hmm.
And what will happen to the hospital and the patients?
See? Oh, well, of course, we shall... I beg your pardon. Well, we'll make sure that they won't be the losers in all this, but of course it's very difficult to...
I wonder if I might come in here, Mr. Stead.
Of course.
It is merely to say that our government will, of course, continue to encourage Dr. Hoffmann in his good work, as we have always done.
But what about the hospital?
Well, should it prove necessary to move the leprosarium elsewhere, my government will be happy, so to say, to mediate between MOGUL and the good doctor.
Well, no, I don't think there's very much to worry about there,
Thank you, gentlemen.
But look, Willie...
For some time now...
Now, look, they've only committed us to moving Hoffmann and his patients, that's all. And their government merely to acting as mediator.
Yes, but that's not binding.
Yes, well, you tell that to the what? The 5-6 million viewers watching that program tonight.
I agree with you, but I think you're making too much of it.
At the very least, we could find ourselves committed to building this Hoffmann character a new hospital.
Well, that might not be such a bad thing, Mr. Stead.
Have you any idea how much that could cost the company?
Well, think of the publicity.
Oh.
Well, Hoffmann's news, world news, whatever he does, whatever he says.
He's the last of the giants, Brian. Nearest thing to a 20th century saint.
He's a Nobel Prize winner.
When I was up at university, I worshipped that man. He was a poet, best-selling author, very successful doctor, fashionable practice in Germany, gave the whole thing up. He went off to Africa and he started this leprosy hospital in the bush.
Yes, well, William, please spare me the sermon.
All the same, it would do us no harm to be associated with Hoffmann.
No. She's right, you know.
No.
I've been wet-nursing this outfit long enough. It's about time they got their fingers out.
Well, it's not been easy.
Well, the car will be obsolete by the time we get any oil out of there.
Well, it's not as bad as all that,
Of course it is. What's been holding you up?
That, if you must know.
Ogawini.
The way this drought is running, we'll end up drilling for oil in that leper colony.
We'll drill for oil in your back teeth, if there's any there, mate. Look, Pat, we've got to be in production by the end of the year. Otherwise, we've got to pay out a whacking great indemnity. And for your information, my orders are that London, to make sure that they do not have to pay out one brass farthing. Now, do you savvy?
Mr. Stead.
Oh, hello, Muller. How are you?
Thank you, fine.
Good. Come on in. Seen the paper?
Yes, I have.
Yeah, well, go on in. Go on in and sit down.
Thank you.
Yes, well, they've been having a field day, haven't they?
Yeah, there have been demonstrations in Hamburg, there have been demonstrations in Berlin.
The Hoffman Societies have been busy.
Yeah, you must appreciate, Mr. Stead, the German public is very sensitive about what goes on in Casemba. After all, it used to be part of German East Africa.
Right.
And we did not anticipate this reaction.
Neither did we.
Well, the students are calling for boycott.
You know, it's funny. All I did was make one fairly guarded statement on television, and suddenly, we're public ogre number one.
It's extraordinary, isn't it?
It's organised.
What? Who by?
Hoffman, of course.
Hoffman is in the middle of Africa.
Where our survey team has been for the past year, he'd have to be deaf and blind not to know what's going on.
Yeah, but Hoffman is a doctor, not a publicist.
Yeah, well, if he's so unworldly, how do all these Hoffman Societies in Europe and America come about?
He's an old man now. He's over 80.
Oh, yes, I know. He's a poor, poor old man.
So, what are we going to do?
Find out what Hoffman wants.
Yeah, but suppose Dr. Hoffman isn't responsible.
Then we get him to stop it. One word from him, the thing's dead.
So you're going to see Dr. Hoffman yourself?
No, but I know just the man for the job.
Yes, Mr. Stead.
Get me Mr. Izard, would you please?
This is it.
Yes, sir.